But how many times have you silenced your own essence? How many times have you ignored the quiet call vibrating within you like an ancient drum, as if something or someone is trying to wake you from a deep dream? Perhaps this moment right now is no coincidence. Perhaps you found this video because a forgotten part of yourself has finally decided to awaken. Yes, there's an I that sleeps within you. Not the social self, the one that wears masks to please, fulfill duties, and survive. But the real I, the I that exists beyond the mind, the body, and the stories you've told yourself. An I that observes in silence and knows, simply knows. And what would you do if you knew there are simple ancestral rituals that can awaken this dormant being? We're not talking about superficial magic formulas, but practices with deep roots in the human soul. Rituals that don't just change your behavior, but your frequency, your field, your consciousness. But first, let me extend an invitation. If this journey, which is just beginning, has already sparked something within you, if you feel this video is more than just words, consider subscribing to the channel, leaving a like, and sharing it with someone who needs this awakening. Here, we're not building an audience, we're gathering a tribe. Now breathe deeply and join me on this crossing. The first ritual is conscious silence. It sounds simple, but most people spend their entire lives running from it. Silence reveals truths that noise tries to hide. In it, you hear not just the world, but yourself. Start with just 5 minutes a day, not as someone waiting for something, but as someone who surrenders. Sit down, close your eyes, breathe, and observe what emerges. Silence is a mirror. It shows exactly what you're afraid to see, and for that very reason, it's the first portal. Have you ever wondered why we're so afraid to be alone with our thoughts? What do you think lies behind the constant noise, notifications, stimuli, and rush? The void we avoid so much might actually be the path back to the essential. The second ritual is soul writing. Don't confuse it with ordinary journaling. Soul writing is a direct dialogue with your deepest I. Grab paper and a pen, never your phone, and simply start writing from this question. Who am I, beyond what the world says I am? Don't try to write beautifully. Write truthfully. Let the pen guide you. At first, you might encounter resistance, confusion, or silence. But if you persist, something magical happens. The voice that's been quiet for years begins to speak, and it tells you things you've always known, but had forgotten. This practice is an exorcism of illusions, and at the same time, an invocation of truth. Have you ever felt like you're carrying words stuck in your throat, perhaps for lifetimes? Felt that there's something that needs to come out, but you don't even know how to name it? Know this: writing can be the bridge between the unconscious and the awakened I. Are you ready to truly listen to yourself? The third ritual is the dawn vigil. There's no moment more sacred than the instant when night bids farewell and the sun is reborn. Rising before sunrise, in silence, and simply contemplating, whether from a window, a backyard, or your own inner space, is like aligning your soul with the cycles of the cosmos. In that moment, ancient traditions believed the veils between worlds are thinnest. The Egyptians greeted Ra, Hindus chanted mantras at daybreak, the Norse revered the renewal of light, and today, most people sleep through the miracle. But if you choose to honor this moment, even once a week, something shifts within you. By connecting with the world's rebirth, you allow parts of yourself that were dormant to be reborn as well. Do you feel like you're living on autopilot? The days repeat like an empty simulation. The dawn is a silent reminder that it's always possible to start anew, even if no one else sees it. The fourth ritual is the non-judgmental gaze. This is perhaps the hardest of all, because we've been trained to judge everything: others, the world, ourselves. But the truth is, judgment is an invisible prison. It prevents us from seeing reality as it is, and condemns us to live within our own projections. The ritual involves, at least once a day, observing a situation, a person, or yourself, and simply looking, without naming, without labeling as right or wrong. Just see, feel, be present. It's when we stop judging that we begin to understand. It's when we stop labeling that we begin to love. And I'm not talking about romantic or idealized love, but a raw, real, unconditional love. The kind of love that doesn't need to understand to embrace. The kind of love that awakens. Could you go a single day without judging anything or anyone? Can you imagine the freedom that would bring? What if judgment is the final veil between you and your true essence? Finally, the fifth ritual is the conscious act of surrender. Every day, choose something, a worry, a belief, a fear, and let it go. Simply surrender it. Imagine placing it in the hands of the universe, God, life, the mystery, not as someone giving up, but as someone who trusts. Because awakening the true I isn't an act of conquest. It's an act of surrender. You don't need to become anything. You just need to release everything that isn't you. And sometimes, what keeps you from awakening is exactly what you're holding onto the tightest. Have you ever asked yourself what you're gripping so fiercely? What idea, identity, or role can't you let go of? What if that role has already served its purpose? What if holding on to it is what's delaying your expansion? These 5 rituals aren't dogmas. They're invitations, they're keys, and each one opens a different door within you. But don't expect immediate results like someone chasing a reward. The true I isn't awakened by haste, but by presence. Imagine yourself as a dormant temple. Its columns are there, its symbols are carved, but the light hasn't been lit. Each ritual is a candle. Each practice is a breath that reignites the sacred flame of your being. But now, let me go further. Awakening isn't just personal, it's collective. Every time a human being ignites their consciousness, the entire field lights up. Your choice to awaken isn't just about you, it's about the world. It's about all of us. And here's something few dare to ask. Who taught us to sleep? Did we really forget on our own? Or were we led to forget? Conditioned, distracted, tamed? Is the real world, as they call it, truly real? Or is it just a hypnotic construct designed to keep the true I imprisoned? This question might feel strange, uncomfortable, but if it resonates within you, perhaps it means something ancient is being remembered now. In ancient Gnostic traditions, it was said that the world was created by a lesser entity, a demiurge, who trapped the divine spark of humans in an illusory reality. According to this view, awakening wasn't just about becoming a better person. It was about escaping the invisible prison of ignorance. It was about remembering we are more than body and mind. We are fragments of the source itself. In Kabbalah, it's taught that the soul is a spark of the Ein Sof, the infinite, that our mission is to return to the consciousness of oneness, and that the veils separating us from this truth are like shells that must be broken. Have you ever felt there's something infinite within you? That feeling that you're more than words can express isn't madness, it's memory. It's the true I trying to emerge through the rubble of a fabricated identity. But then another question arises. If the true I is so pure and elevated, why did we forget it in the first place? This is the part of the mystery that sparks the most debate. Some say it was trauma, others the system, others still that it was necessary for us to learn, evolve, grow stronger, like a soul that dives into matter to remember through pain the value of light. Perhaps the fall was part of the plan. Perhaps forgetting was the first step toward a more conscious reunion. What if this is the moment of that reunion? Notice, as you watch this video, your unconscious is being activated. Words, symbols, sensations, none of this is random. It's as if a part of you knows exactly why you're here and why now. Do you really think you clicked on this content by chance? Nothing awakens the true I faster than recognizing synchronicity. When you start noticing that the universe is speaking to you all the time, through signs, encounters, challenges, everything changes. You step out of victim mode and into master mode. And here's the turning point. Are you willing to let go of the limited version of yourself in the name of your true greatness? Because the true I doesn't fit in the version of you that's used to suffering. It doesn't live in the boxes you were taught to occupy. It doesn't feed on fear, scarcity, or competition. The true I is free, wild, compassionate, lucid, and it's already knocking at the door. When you start practicing these rituals, conscious silence, soul writing, dawn vigil, non-judgmental gaze, and intentional surrender, you're not just improving yourself, you're remembering. And in the end, awakening isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you've always been. Maybe you don't have words for this yet. Maybe it's all still felt like a fog, and that's okay. Awakening doesn't happen with explosions. It's subtle. It whispers before it shouts. It touches before it transforms. And that's why you're here. Not to understand everything with your mind, but to feel it with your soul. You start noticing that the world around you changes as you change within. And here's one of the most hidden secrets of existence. External reality isn't the cause, it's the reflection. Everything you see, feel, and attract is an expression of the energetic field you emanate. But if that's true, what are we manifesting when we live on autopilot, repeating inherited patterns and words we don't even understand? Most people live as echoes. They reproduce what they've heard, imitate what was taught. But the true I, it creates. It questions. It doesn't accept anything just because it was said. It investigates. It dives. It listens to its own intuition, that silent radar connecting you to the invisible. And speaking of the invisible, have you ever felt guided by something you couldn't explain? A dream, a phrase, a song, a glance, as if something from the other side was calling you. That other side isn't distant. It's interwoven with your essence. It's part of your nature. Ancient traditions called it the inner kingdom, the higher soul, the spirit. And from that place comes the truest call, to remember who you are. And remember, there's no manual for this, no formula, no guru who'll walk this path for you. There's only one certainty. Awakening is inevitable for those who choose to look within. But don't be fooled. Awakening hurts. It dismantles everything you thought you were. It shakes your certainties, erodes your masks, and destabilizes your comfort zone. It strips away everything familiar, so the new can be born. And the new is scary, because it comes with no guarantees. It comes with faith, with presence, with surrender. This is where many give up. They choose to go back to sleep, to distract themselves, to numb with stimuli. But you know, once the call has been heard, it's impossible to pretend you didn't hear it. And if you've made it this far, it's because the call was for you. Have you noticed how everything begins with a yes? Yes to silence, yes to discomfort, yes to the unknown. It's this yes that shifts the frequency, that reprograms your mind, that activates your spiritual DNA. Yes, I choose to remember. Yes, I choose to see. Yeah, I choose to be. And when you say that yes, the doors start to open. That's why the true ritual isn't made with mystical objects or sacred words. The true ritual begins when you choose to be present, when you face your own abysses, when you choose to love your shadows instead of running from them. That's the greatest portal of all, because there's no light without shadow, and there's no true I without the deep acceptance of everything you are. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be true. And if this resonates with you, know this: the process has already begun. And now that it's begun, you can't go back. But you can choose how you'll cross this bridge between who you were and who you're becoming. Here's an ancient forgotten truth. Transformation isn't about becoming something new. It's about removing what isn't you. You don't need to build yourself. You need to reveal yourself. With every layer that falls, a belief, a wound, a fear, something in you breathes more deeply. The soul vibrates with more freedom. The body responds with more lightness. Synchronicities multiply. Signs intensify. The outer world begins to reorganize as your inner world aligns. That's why rituals, when done with consciousness, aren't magic. They're reminders, symbols that awaken the ancestral memories sleeping within you. And each of the 5 rituals you've seen here isn't something to follow like a formula, but as a mirror, a reflection of what you already know, but had forgotten. You're not just a body, a mind, or a social role. You're the synthesis of the visible and the invisible, the human and the divine. And true awakening happens when you stop searching outside and start listening to what's always known within you. And perhaps the most beautiful thing of all is this: you've never been alone. Every step, every pain, every vision, every intuition, they were clues, fragments of the true I trying to emerge through the layers of conditioning. And now, in this moment, at the end of this video, you can do something powerful. Affirm your return, not to others, not to the world, but to yourself. That's the true ritual. That's the most sacred portal.